There are over 33 million small businesses operating in the United States right now. But here's what stopped me cold. The ones making the most consistent money are not the ones you see advertised. They are not the ones with flashy logos or viral marketing campaigns. They are the ones you walk past, drive over, and stand next to every single day without ever once noticing they exist. You used at least 3 of them today. Before you even ate lunch, someone inspected equipment in your office building, someone maintained the lines in the parking lot where you parked, and someone swapped out the floor mat you wiped your feet on when you walked through the front door. These invisible businesses are generating thousands, sometimes millions in revenue while hiding in plain sight. My name is John. Today, we are looking at 9 businesses that you never notice but use every single day. Some of these will seem so obvious you will wonder how you never thought of them. Others are so hidden that even most business owners have no idea they exist. And the last one on this list, number 1, operates in a $22 billion industry with contracts so sticky that customers almost never leave. If you only pay attention to one business from this video, make it that one. Let's get into it. Number 9, shopping cart maintenance and retrieval. You have pushed a shopping cart 1,000 times in your life. You have grabbed one from the corral, wheeled it through the aisles, loaded it up, and left it in the parking lot. But have you ever once stopped to wonder who fixes the wobbly wheel, who retrieves the carts that end up 3 blocks away in someone's front yard, or who pressure washes off last week's spilled soda? Somebody does, and that somebody is making real money. There are an estimated 15 to 25 million shopping carts in active daily use across the United States, and retailers lose roughly $175 to $200 million every year just from stolen and damaged carts in the grocery sector alone, according to the Food Marketing Institute. That does not even include big box stores like Walmart and Target. A single high-volume store can lose 50 to 100 carts annually, which translates to $6,000 to $15,000 in direct replacement costs per store every single year. Enter the shopping cart maintenance and retrieval operator. You need a truck, a trailer, a pressure washer, a welder, and some replacement parts. Total startup cost ranges from $15,000 to $45,000. You charge stores $200 to $600 per month on a retainer contract, or $10 to $30 per cart for repairs like wheel replacements and frame straightening. A solo operator servicing 30 to 50 retail store contracts can gross $80,000 to $180,000 per year, with gross margins of 50 to 70%. Companies like Omni Cart Services have scaled this exact model to $10 to $25 million in annual revenue. Here's what nobody tells you. In California, local ordinances allow cities to impound stray shopping carts and fine retailers up to $100 per cart. That means stores are not just hiring cart retrieval companies because they want to. They are hiring them because they legally have to. And here's the pattern you're going to see repeating across every business on this list. The customer does not choose whether to hire you. The regulation, the liability, or the sheer operational necessity makes the decision for them. You have pushed a cart 1,000 times and never once thought about who keeps them rolling. That is the boring thesis in action. Nobody dreams about fixing shopping cart wheels. That is exactly why the people who do it have almost zero competition. Number 8, commercial blind cleaning. Walk into any office building, hospital, hotel, or medical clinic and look at the windows. You will see blinds, hundreds of them, sometimes thousands in a single facility. They get dusty, grimy, and coated with allergens. Someone has to clean them. And the person who does charges $15 to $25 per blind and can clean 80 to 120 of them in a single day. The technology behind this is called ultrasonic cleaning. You submerge the blind into a tank filled with liquid, and high-frequency sound waves blast every speck of dirt off every single slat in 15 to 60 seconds. No hand scrubbing, no chemicals, just physics. A professional ultrasonic blind cleaning machine costs $8,000 to $25,000, and total startup, including a van, generator, and supplies, runs $29,000 to $80,000. But let us do the math. If you clean 100 blinds per day at an average of $20 per blind, that is $2,000 per day. Work 5 days a week, and you are looking at $10,000 per week, or over $360,000 per year in gross revenue. Gross profit margins sit between 70 and 85% because the consumable costs, water, electricity, and biodegradable soap, average less than $1.50 per blind. One operator on the Sweaty Startup Forum described averaging $5,000 per month, working just 3 to 4 days a week. The real money is in recurring commercial contracts. Hospitals need blind cleaning every 3 to 6 months to meet Joint Commission infection control standards. Hotels clean theirs every 6 months. Corporate offices schedule annually. Once you land a building, you keep that building. And here's something almost nobody tells you. About 30 to 40% of commercial blinds that come in for cleaning also need minor repairs. Broken tilt mechanisms, frayed cords, damaged slats. If you learn to fix those too, you boost your revenue per job by 30 to 50% without adding a single new customer. Think about it like this. You walk into a hospital and your eyes go straight past the blinds, but someone came through last Tuesday with a van full of ultrasonic tanks, cleaned every single one, fixed a dozen broken tilt rods while they were at it, and walked out with a $4,000 check. The broader U.S. commercial cleaning market is valued at over $80 billion, and blind cleaning sits in a tiny, highly profitable corner of it where most cleaning companies never think to look. That is your moat. You are operating in the space between what the big cleaning companies consider too specialized and what the small handyman considers too weird. And that space, the space that nobody wants to fill, is exactly where the margins live. Still, with me, good. Because now we move to a business you literally drive over every single day. Number 7, parking lot, striping and line marking. Every parking lot you have ever pulled into has painted lines. White lines, yellow lines, handicap symbols, fire lane markings, directional arrows. Someone put them there, and someone has to come back and repaint them every 12 to 24 months because weather, traffic, and snowplows wear them away. The U.S. traffic and road marking coatings market was valued at approximately $1.08 billion in 2023, growing at a KGR of 5%, according to Grandview Research. But the total market, including labor and services, is estimated at $2 to $6 billion. Here's what makes this business beautiful. Material costs are almost laughably low. A gallon of traffic paint costs $30 to $50 and covers about 20 to 25 parking stall lines. You charge $5 to $15 per stall to repaint. That means $1.50 worth of paint earns you $10. The material costs represent only 10 to 15% of the total price charged. Gross margins land between 60 and 85%. One operator on the Sweaty Startup subreddit described starting with a $3,000 Graco striping machine and $500 in paint. His first month, he made $4,200. 3 years later, he was doing $25,000 per month with one helper. Another poster described his buddy working maybe 20 hours a week during the season and clearing $8,000 to $10,000 per month. Total startup costs range from $5,000 to $25,000 without a vehicle, or $15,000 to $50,000 if you need to buy a truck. ADA handicap stalls are where it gets interesting. Those detailed blue and white markings command $25 to $150 each, and property managers must keep them visible and compliant at all times. It is legally mandated. You literally drive over this business every single day and never once think about it. The boring factor is the advantage. Nobody's competing with you because nobody thinks painting lines in a parking lot is exciting enough to try. Number 6, backflow preventer testing. This might be the most invisible business on this entire list. Right now, somewhere in the plumbing system of almost every commercial building, school, hospital, and irrigation system in your neighborhood, there is a small mechanical device called a backflow preventer. Its job is to stop contaminated water from flowing backward into the public drinking water supply. And by law, every single one of them must be tested once a year by a certified technician. There are over 115 million backflow prevention assemblies installed across the United States, according to industry estimates. And the startup cost to get into this business is shockingly low. A certified test kit costs $900 to $1,800. The certification course is 40 hours and costs $800 to $1,200. Add insurance and basic tools, and you're in business for $1,500 to $5,000. That is not a typo. Each test takes 15 to 20 minutes, and you charge $50 to $150 for residential and $150 to $350 for commercial devices. Let us do the simple math. If you complete 15 tests per day at $75 each, that is $125 in a single day. Work 200 days per year, and your gross revenue is $225,000. Your overhead? Fuel, annual gauge calibration, and insurance totaling maybe $5,000 to $10,000. One operator on the Sweaty Startup subreddit described getting a certification for $500, buying a $1,500 gauge kit, and grossing $72,000 in his first season, April through September, doing it as a side gig after his day job. He would knock out 8 to 12 tests per evening. Here's the part nobody mentions. Roughly 10 to 20% of backflow assemblies fail their annual test. When they fail, they need to be rebuilt. Rebuilding costs $30 to $80 in parts and takes 30 minutes, but you charge $150 to $350 for the repair. Testing is the lead generator. Repairs are the profit multiplier. And here is the genius of it. The city water department does your marketing for you. They send 30-day compliance letters to every property owner threatening to shut off their water if the test is not submitted. You just need to get listed on the city's approved tester list and the phone rings by itself. Gross profit margins sit between 70 and 90%, making this one of the highest margin businesses you have never heard of. Number 5, traffic sign maintenance. There are approximately 45 to 50 million traffic signs installed on public roads in the United States. Stop signs, speed limit signs, yield signs, street name signs. Every single one of them must meet federal retroreflectivity standards set by the FHWA's manual on uniform traffic control devices. When a sign fades, gets knocked down by a truck, or fails a reflectivity test, someone has to replace it. And many small towns and counties do not have their own sign crews. They contract it out. The U.S. traffic control equipment market was valued at $6.3 billion in 2025 and is projected to reach $9.75 billion by 2032, according to market research. Small independent sign contractors can generate $200,000 to $500,000 per year. You charge $150 to $500 per sign installation, $50 to $200 for a sign face replacement, and $85 to $175 per hour for emergency service calls. One independent contractor described servicing on just 3 small towns in his county, handling all their sign replacements and retroreflectivity assessments, grossing about $180,000 per year, working an average of 30 hours a week. Here's the pattern. Federal infrastructure funding through the Infrastructure Investment and Jobs Act has allocated over $110 billion for road and bridge safety. That money flows directly into sign upgrades and replacements. And with 4.5 to 9 million signs needing replacement every single year due to weathering, accidents, and vandalism, the demand never stops. Municipalities that fail to maintain compliant signage expose themselves to massive tort liability in nighttime crash lawsuits. A driver hits a faded stop sign at an intersection. The city gets sued. That fear of liability is what keeps sign contractors in business, rain or shine. You drive past hundreds of signs every day and never once wonder who put them there, who tests them, and who replaces them when they fade. But someone does, and they are getting paid well for it. Now we enter the top half of this list, where the businesses get more interesting and the revenue gets larger. Number 4, fire sprinkler inspection. Look up. Right now, wherever you are reading this, there's probably a fire sprinkler head above you, those little metal discs with the glass bulbs sitting in the ceiling of every office, hotel, hospital, warehouse, and apartment building you have ever been inside. Every single one of them is part of a system that must be inspected quarterly, tested annually, and fully evaluated every 5 years. That is not a suggestion. That is federal law under NFPA 25. The U.S. fire protection and security system installation industry is estimated at $22.1 billion in 2025, according to IBIS World. There are roughly 5.9 million commercial buildings in the United States, and every new one built is essentially required to have fire sprinkler systems under the International Building Code. That is an ocean of recurring inspection revenue. An independent inspector with a NICET certification, a service van, and basic testing equipment can start for $25,000 to $75,000. You charge $150 to $500 for a basic quarterly inspection, $500 to $2,000 for an annual detailed test, and $2,000 to $10,000 for a 5-year internal pipe inspection on larger facilities. One fire protection inspector on the Fire PE subreddit described going independent with about 60 buildings on quarterly contracts, pulling in over $200,000 per year gross, with overhead being basically his van, insurance, and gas. Another operator on the small business subreddit described his cousin who walks into buildings, checks sprinkler heads, tests alarms, writes a report, charges $300 to $500, and does 3 to 4 buildings per day. That is $200 to $2,000 per day for work that is mandated by law and cannot be skipped. Here is what nobody tells you. About 20% of inspections turn up deficiencies. Leaking heads, corroded pipes, faulty valves. If you also handle those repairs, you have just created a second revenue stream that is triggered automatically by the first one. Testing is the stable base. Deficiency repairs are the growth engine. And because there are not enough NICET certified inspectors to meet demand, the phone keeps ringing. You stand under these sprinkler heads every day and never think about who checks them. And that is precisely the point. Number 3, commercial ice machine leasing. Every restaurant, hotel, bar, hospital, and convenience store in this country needs ice. Not wants, needs. A restaurant without ice cannot serve drinks, cannot keep food cold, cannot pass a health inspection, and there are over 1 million restaurants in the United States alone, not counting hotels, hospitals, gas stations, and event venues. The total addressable market is over 2 to 3 million commercial ice machines currently running. The commercial ice machine market is valued at approximately $800 million to $1.1 billion in the US. But here is where it gets interesting. Instead of buying a $5,000 to $7,000 machine outright, restaurants increasingly subscribe to ice machine leasing services. Companies like Easy Ice pioneered this model and now have over 25,000 machines installed across 47 states. Think of it as ice as a service. The operator buys the machine, installs it, handles all maintenance and cleaning, all repairs and parts, all water filter replacements, and guarantees emergency ice delivery if the machine ever goes down. The restaurant pays a flat monthly fee of $150 to $500 depending on machine capacity. The machine pays for itself in 18 to 24 months. After that, it generates pure profit for 5 to 8 more years. Gross margins run 60 to 75%. Net margins for mature operations hit 25 to 40%. One operator on the small business subreddit described his buddy who services commercial ice machines and started leasing them out 3 years ago. He has 40 machines now, charges 270 files per month average. That is $11,000 per month in recurring revenue. His costs are about $3,000 to $4,000 monthly for van payment, insurance, parts, and filters. He nets close to $7,000 per month, and the number keeps growing as he adds more machines. Another operator on the Sweaty Startup subreddit put it perfectly. Ice machines are easily the single most hated piece of equipment in a commercial kitchen. When one breaks on a Friday night during dinner rush, the owner sends employees to buy 40 bags of ice from gas stations. They gladly pay $300 per month to make that nightmare disappear. Morgan Housel writes in Same as Ever that the best business advantages come from solving problems that never go away. Ice is that kind of problem. It melts every day. Every restaurant needs more of it tomorrow. And the business that delivers it quietly collects a check every single month while nobody notices. The retention rate for ice machine leasing customers is over 95% a year over year. Once a restaurant owner gets used to calling one number and having ice delivered or fixed within hours without ever getting billed for parts, they never cancel. That is the definition of a sticky business. You ordered a cold drink today. You did not think about where the ice came from, but somebody got paid for it. Number 2, elevator maintenance and inspection. There are over 1.1 million elevators operating across the United States right now, making over 15 million maintenance service visits per year. Every single elevator must be inspected annually by law under the ASME A17.1 safety code, with additional monthly maintenance requirements. Category 1 safety tests are required every year. Full load Category 5 tests happen every 5 years. This is non-negotiable. People's lives depend on it. The U.S. elevator maintenance market alone was valued at $5.7 billion in 2024 and is projected to reach $9 billion by 2034, according to market research. Maintenance services account for 54% of total industry revenue. And here is the opportunity. The big 4 elevator companies, Otis, Schindler, Cone, and TK Elevator, dominate new installations. But independent service providers handle approximately 40 to 50% of all maintenance units. Building managers are frequently frustrated with the big 4 for slow response times and expensive proprietary pricing. Independent operators win contracts by offering 20 to 30% lower pricing with faster local service. Maintenance contracts for a single elevator range from $85 to $420 per month, which works out to $1,000 to $5,000 per year per elevator. A small independent company with 5 to 15 mechanics can generate $2 to $8 million annually. Billable repairs and modernizations carry gross margins of 40 to 60%. And the recurring maintenance contracts provide operating margins of 20 to 25%. These businesses are so valuable that they trade at 6 to 18 times EBITDA when sold. The barrier to entry is high. You need years of experience and a state license, but that barrier is exactly what keeps competition low and margins high. Think about it like this. You stepped into an elevator today. You pressed a button, the doors closed, and 30 seconds later you were on a different floor. You never wondered whether it was safe. You never thought about who tested the emergency brakes, inspected the cables, or calibrated the door sensors. But someone did, and they sent a bill for it. And 46% of all repair requests come from elevators older than 25 years, which means the aging infrastructure in this country is not a problem for elevator companies. It is job security. And now we arrive at number 1, and this is the one I have been waiting to talk about. Commercial mat and linen rental services. Walk into any restaurant and look down. There is a floor mat at the entrance. Walk into an auto shop and look at the uniforms. Walk into a hotel and look at the towels. Walk into a hospital and look at the scrubs. Someone delivers every single one of those items, picks them up when they are dirty, washes them, and delivers fresh ones the following week, every week, for years. The U.S. linen, uniform, and mat rental industry generates approximately $22 to $27 billion in annual revenue, according to IBISWorld. Cintas alone, the market leader, does over $10 billion per year with operating margins above 22%. But this is not just a big company game. Independent operators with a single route can gross $5,000 to $15,000 per week. That is $260,000 to $780,000 per year from one route, one van, one driver. Here is how the model works. You own the inventory. The mats, the linens, the uniforms. You maintain 2 to 3 sets per customer. Set 1 is on site. Set 2 is being laundered. Set 3 is in reserve. Every week, your driver picks up the dirty items and drops off a clean set. The customer never owns anything. They rent it. Standard contracts run 3 to 5 years with automatic renewal clauses. Weekly minimum charges guarantee revenue even if the customer is closed for a holiday. Built-in annual price escalators of 3 to 7% compound your revenue automatically. Let us talk about the margins. A standard floor mat costs you $20 to $30 wholesale. You rent it for $5 to $10 per week. A single mat pays for itself in 3 to 6 weeks. After that, every dollar is profit for the remaining multi-year lifespan. The gross margins for the industry range from 35 to 51%, with Cintas operating at the top. Net margins for independents typically run 8 to 12%, but owner-operators can push higher by keeping overhead lean. The genius of this model is the retention. An operator on the sweaty startup subreddit described his uncle who has been running a uniform and mat rental route for 22 years. Same customers, same route, like clockwork. He clears low 6 figures and works Monday through Friday, home by 3 p.m. Another commenter noted that once a restaurant signs up for linen service, they almost never leave because switching providers is a logistical nightmare. The contracts are sticky by design. Walker Deibel writes in Buy Then Build that the most undervalued businesses in America are the ones with reliable recurring revenue and low customer churn. This is exactly that business. No glamour, no viral moment. Just a route, a van, clean linens, and a customer who pays you every single week for years without ever thinking about switching. Here is the uncomfortable truth behind this entire list. None of these 9 businesses are exciting. Not one of them will make you the star of a dinner party. Nobody is posting TikToks about backflow preventer testing or shopping cart retrieval, and that is precisely why they work. The excitement gap is the opportunity gap. The less sexy a business sounds, the fewer people are willing to start one, which means less competition, higher margins, and more room for you. Think about 2 people, Marcus and Tyler. Marcus spent 3 years chasing the perfect app idea. He built prototypes, hired developers, pitched investors, pivoted twice, and burned through $80,000 in savings. He is still looking for product market fit. Tyler took a 40-hour Backflow testing certification course, bought a $2,500 gauge kit, and started knocking out tests in his neighborhood. Within 18 months, he was grossing over $150,000 with virtually no overhead. He did not disrupt anything. He just solved a boring, mandatory, recurring problem that was already waiting for him. Keith Cunningham put it plainly in The Road Less Stupid. The quality of your outcome is determined by the quality of the question you ask before you start. And the question is not, what sounds exciting? The question is, what does everybody need, nobody notices, and nobody else wants to do? The answer is sitting in the parking lot you drove into today. It is hiding behind the blinds in your office. It is underneath the elevator you rode this morning. It is flowing through the pipes under your feet. These businesses are everywhere. You just never noticed them. Until now. If this video opened your eyes to a business you had never considered, hit that like button. It helps more than you know. Subscribe if you want us to keep talking about real businesses and real money, not hype. Tell me in the comments which of these 9 businesses surprised you the most. I'm John, and I'll see you in the next video.